Hey guys, I'm Cherry and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the musculoskeletal system. This system helps to keep us upright by supporting the weight of our bodies. It also allows for mobility and it protects our organs from external harm. It is comprised of the bones, muscles, joints, cartilage, ligaments, and tendons. All of these parts are essential to the system and they depend on each other to function properly. First, we'll move on to the bones. The average adult has 206 bones in their body and together they make up the skeleton. Fun fact, a newborn baby actually has over 300 bones, but as they grow older, some of them fuse together, so by the time that they reach adulthood, they only have 206 bones. Your bones provide support, they protect important organs, for example, your rib cage, which protects the lungs and the heart, and they also produce blood cells. The outside of the bone is made up of dense, compact tissue, while the inside is made up of spongy tissue, which is called marrow. Your bone marrow is exactly where the red and white blood cells are produced. The inside of the bone is significantly lighter than the outside, and this helps to reduce the weight of the skeleton and make movement easier. There are two different types of skeletal structures. First, we have the axial, which is at the center of the body, and it's shown in blue in this diagram, and this helps to protect the important organs. And the second is the appendicular, which is shown in red, and it's on the peripheral of the body and it allows for movement. So the appendicular skeletal structure includes your arms and your legs. Next, we'll move on to the muscles. So muscles are made up of thousands of contractile tissues that help to move our body. There are over 600 muscles in the body, and this accounts for about 40% of the total body weight. Fun fact, it only takes 17 muscles to smile, while it takes 43 to frown. So please smile more. Your muscles work by contracting and relaxing. The three different types of muscles include skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. Firstly, we have skeletal muscle, which is attached to the bone and aids in conscious movement. An example of skeletal muscle is the sartorius, which runs from the hip to the knee, and this is actually the longest bone. This is actually the longest muscle in our body. Next, we have smooth muscle, which is found in hollow organs such as the stomach, and it allows for involuntary movement. And finally, we have cardiac muscle, which I guess is kind of a subtopic or subcategory of smooth muscle, as it also allows for involuntary movement. But the main difference is that cardiac muscle is only found in the heart. Cardiac muscle is also fatigue resistant, which means that it never tires and continues to work until the day that you die. Next, we'll move on to the joints. So a joint is the connection where two or more bones meet, and this allows for motion. A few of the different types of joints include a ball and socket joint, for example, in the shoulder or hip. And basically you have the ball of one joint sits in the cup of the other. So that allows it to move like this. Next, we have the saddle joint, which is, for example, at the base of the thumb. So this allows it to move back and forth as well as side to side. Then we have the hinge joint in the elbow and the knee, and this allows for movement back and forth, but not side to side. Then we have the pivot joint, which connects the first and second vertebrae in the neck, and this allows for a full rotation. And finally, we have the gliding joint, which is found in the wrist. And this is basically when the smooth surfaces of several bones are sliding against each other. And now we'll just move on to the tendons, ligaments, and cartilage. So all of these are tissues that are found around the joints and they perform different tasks. So each one is essential to this system. And firstly, we have the tendons, which connects the muscles to the bones. Next is ligaments, and this attaches one bone to another. and then which forms a joint. And here you can see this white portion is your ligament. And finally, we have the cartilage, which is a tough, flexible tissue between the joints, and it helps to reduce the friction between those bones. So this section inside of this area is your cartilage. Fun fact, the cartilage does not actually have a blood supply or nerve system around it, and it instead gets its oxygen and nutrient supply from dynamic load, which happens when you move. Now, finally, we have health issues related to the musculoskeletal system. So there are over 100 different health concerns relating to this system, but today we're just going to be looking at the 3 most common. Most of these issues result in pain, and they often limit mobility. Some of the most common ones include osteoporosis. The bone tissue is constantly being absorbed as well as recreated by the body, but if the creation of new bone tissue is not as fast as the removal of old bone tissue, it can lead to the bones becoming weaker. So as you can see in this diagram, this is what the bones would look like if you didn't have osteoporosis. This is what it would look like if you had normal or mild osteoporosis, and severe, and this is what it would look like if you had severe osteoporosis. Next we have muscle atrophy, which is the decaying of muscles, and this is caused by lack of movement, but it also makes it harder for you to move. And finally, we have osteoarthritis, which is the degrading and thinning of the cartilage between the bones, and this can cause pain and stiffness. So osteoarthritis is most common in the hands, knees, and hip, and it is one of the leading causes of a lack of physical activity in people over the age of 65. So you can see here that a healthy joint would look like this with very clear cartilage, but if you had osteoarthritis, the cartilage would be severely thin and it would look something like this. So that's kind of all that I have for today, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Bye for now.